Welcome to the Man 360 podcast. Thank you for joining us again for Man 360 podcast. I'm your host, Brian. We always encourage you to go to our website, man360.tv. You can connect with us on our Instagram, on Facebook as well at Man360TV. And again, connect with us. We always want to hear maybe an idea or something for the podcast or something that would interest you and you'd want to hear about what we're doing. But today, I have the distinct honor and privilege of chatting today with Steve and Carol Cunningham. I feel like I've known you guys for like 10 million years.
You have.
Feels like, yeah, probably. Just about. We were sharing just some ideas and thoughts for their program that we want to talk about today that also plays on CTN. And I just really appreciate your heart to want to do something out of the box and a little different. I know we say that all the time in the Christian world, you know, it's out of the box. But there's really nothing, you know, we consider Man 360 a program that nobody else is really doing. But there's really an amazing idea that you guys had for the Destined to Roam program. Why don't you just share about that and kind of share where this idea came from to do the program?
Sure. I've been at CTN 20 years now. And part of my job is looking for new programming. So we're always got our eyes open for it. Mm-hmm. And I had mentioned to Carol, and so she was praying about it. And you heard the Lord pretty much say.
Basically, we had been watching YouTube for a while, and we'd been watching like travel shows. We had two favorites. One was this young couple, and the other one was a couple with two children. Mm-hmm. And we just really loved it. I mean, it just was, you know, just fun to watch. Didn't do anything special, but it just felt like you were traveling with them. Yeah. And so when I was praying about it, it just popped into my mind. We could do that. Steve and I could do that. We always loved to travel. We kind of have a background doing drama. So to do that kind of thing was not hard for us. So I heard the Lord say, why can't you do that, Carol? Yeah. And so I text him right away and he's like, oh my gosh.
I heard the Lord. The Lord had a feminine voice.
I know. It's so funny too. We were talking, I don't know who I was mentioning this to the other day, but it's like, when God either does a miracle or shares something with us and it's something that makes sense, we're always amazed or stunned, but we should be like, of course God would tell us that.
I know.
He knows how he created us. So you guys started the program. How old is the program now?
2022 is when the first episode in September launched.
So three years coming up here.
Yeah.
Wow. And then how many episodes do you guys have done right now?
We're in season 6. So it's about, counted the other day, about 50.
50, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
about 50.
I think that's about I think we do 13, average 13 programs an episode which is a normal standard episode or season, I guess would be.
Yeah.
So I know you guys have obviously traveled, like, where have you guys traveled to, I guess? Again, the program's called
Destined to Roam, which was an idea that God gave Steve during a worship service. We're thinking, what can we name it? What can we name it? And after the worship service, we came out to the car and Steve looks at me and says, God told me what the name of the program is. And I'm like, oh, really? What is it? And he said, Destined to Roam with the 2. And I'm like, no way. That's awesome. I said, that's it.
That's it.
That is the name.
Didn't have to argue it, figure it out.
Nothing. I totally knew that it was God, that was it. So that's how we came.
I looked up Rome, and Rome can be intentional. A lot of times you think about roaming as I don't know what to
aimless
do.
wandering.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Roaming can be intentional, and that's basically what we do.
That's awesome. So where have you guys traveled to with the program? Like, where have you been with the program?
I think I looked up the other day because of doing interviews. I was like, somebody asked us, I think, how many states we've been to, and I'm like, I don't even know. So I started writing it down. It was like 26 states we had already traveled to. And some of them we've only done just something short, small in that state, but it's still states that we have touched. So like 26 states. So
back in the late 70s, we lived on the road for about a year and a half when I was doing silversmiths, silver and turquoise jewelries. So we've been in every state in the contiguous United States.
Yep.
But we weren't filming then.
Yeah. You didn't know you were doing recon.
Someone was just driving through and that was it, you know?
Right. You just get out the sign, step your foot, honk twice, and then drive off.
No, you got to jump or something.
Yeah, I know. You got to do the jumping picture. I think Laura Harris Smith and her husband, whenever they go through a new state if they're driving. This is hilarious. She also does a program called The 3 on CTN. They always stop and they do like a jumping picture at every state marker. And I'm like, that would be like, Yolanda and I, our legs would get tired with traveling for Man 360. You know, we did like 8,000 miles, I think, this last trip.
Oh my gosh.
Which has been crazy.
Yeah.
So when you guys go, I guess this is something else too. When you guys are setting up a program, what are some of the elements that go into that? Is it where you're going to go and then you try to get some interviews and then you do a devotion, or kind of what is if they've never watched the program, kind of what would they expect if they watched it?
Well,
the cameraman would be sitting in the back seat.
Yes.
Like that.
just us two.
Yeah.
Us two with our cell phones, basically.
Yeah.
But intentionally, we just wanted people to see what it was like to be a Christian. Because we thought we maybe would be people that weren't Christians would be able to be seen. And most of the people that have seen Christians on television, they're teachers, they're preachers, they're not normal people that are just sharing their life.
Right.
And that's basically what we do.
Yeah.
We just say, this is what it's like to be a Christian. This is what it's like when a Christian goes on a vacation.
Yeah.
You know, this is what it's like when we come across problems, or, you know, when we see the beauty of God's creation, how do we react? Just being normal.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of thing that we get back in emails is, you guys are so normal.
Right.
I feel like you're our friends. I mean, we have people saying, I feel like I'm in the backseat of your car and I'm traveling right along with you. And that's what we intended to do, is to let people know us. And this is what it's like to be a Christian, to love God and to appreciate.
What do you do when things don't go right? You know, when you travel, things don't always go right.
That's right.
I mean, for the flat tires or the get stuck in the muddy road and so forth.
Yep.
How do you handle it?
So we don't script anything.
Yeah.
We just decide where we're going to go. And that's basically it.
Yeah.
You know?
And then have a conversation. And you mentioned too, before we started the podcast about, and I remember this back in Praise Cathedral days, you guys were always involved in some of the theatrical things that we did. I remember Scrooge. I remember all the ones with, you know, Steve and his big stovepipe top tall hat. So you guys already had kind of that theatrical background, and you've been married a long time too. So you already have kind of that bantering and which Yolanda and I, it's funny because we always get the most comments or the most appreciation for comments for segments that we do with Yolanda and I on. So it's kind of like, well, don't you even care about me like my chopped liver? But they're like, no, we just like the fact that Yolanda knows me so well and kind of back and forth. Yeah. So can you just share maybe a funny story and then maybe a testimony as well from the program from all these episodes?
Did you want to share first, or?
Because funny story would be the muddy road.
Yeah, no, it would be.
We were headed to Cedar City in Utah, and we had been to Zion before. And this time, I had seen a bicyclist on TV that had gone to the Kalab Road, which is beside, and you get around, it goes in the back of Zion. So we were headed to her best friend in high school. She'd moved to Utah. We were headed down that road.
And it was winter. But it had been warm, so the snow had melted.
Yeah.
And then
we
got into the dirt road. It's so funny because when we were telling people about this, they like, oh no, Utah.
You already knew
mud.
what it is.
Yeah, no, red
so
mud.
Bad.
Yeah, it was terrifying, actually.
Because you get on the edge and stop. And you see your car going down.
So
it's like silt. It's not like regular mud, that red mud. Yeah. If it's like Zion or like Arches, like we've hiked Arches before, it's like a silt kind of a mud. So when it gets slick, it's really, really slick.
And we were out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there was nobody there. We're on this little back road, and there's houses there, but they're like summer homes. Nobody's around. And we're on a road that has ditches on each side. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's freezing cold. And I'm thinking, if we got stuck in a ditch, we'd have to get out and walk in the mud, and I don't know when we'd get to a home. And all this is racing through my mind.
Nobody's going to find you.
Yeah. This is racing through my mind, and Steve, and I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, Carol, calm down.
You got to the point, shut up.
Well, one time he just said, stop. That's one of the times we didn't video what was going on.
See, that would be good for a podcast. I've been talking to them. Also, just a little side note, if you're listening to this podcast, about them doing a podcast about some of these side funny things that nobody sees on the camera. But I appreciate, Carol, what you said. It's like, you know, we're not trying to hide anything from people. It's like what you see is what you get. And I think that's really from the feedback from people that have commented to you guys too with email. So what's maybe a testimony of somebody that contacted you and just said, you know, hey, this program really is awesome. It really changed my life in this way.
We do get some of those, and it's so wonderful when we do. We did a program once. A lot of times the little like God moment we have at the end. Yeah. I'll try to connect us somehow to the episode we just saw. And we did an episode down in Fort Myers after the hurricane. And we kind of took them down to show the people what had happened.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, I shared this story I read in the newspaper down in Fort Myers. It was about this couple had decided to stay, and they lived on the beach with a 2-story condo, and they had stayed before through the hurricanes, but they decided to stay this. They were posting on Facebook, and they were saying, we're excited to stay. And then they said the next post was, we might have made a mistake. And then the last post, they said, we're terrified, written all in capital letters.
Oh my
And that was the post that they posted.
Yeah.
And so the story came from the woman, and she said that they were terrified. They didn't know what to do. She was in her 60s. The man was in his 70s. And they decided to go to their neighbors to see if they could get out because the bottom floor is completely flooded. And they were really afraid. He did not know how to swim. She did. So she decided that she'd take a sheet, tie it around herself, and tie it around her husband.
Yeah.
And they started off, and then he got separated. She tried to get back to him, and the roof of the place fell on him.
Oh my God.
And he was lost.
Yeah.
She hung on to something until she was rescued. But it said that she was in the hospital, and they were talking to her, and they said she looked so full of guilt and regret.
Yeah.
And she said, if I only not made the decision that we had made, she said, we would have lost everything, but I'd still have him. We'd still have our lives.
Yeah.
And I told that story to the people. And then I said, I feel like God's saying, you've made decisions in your life that you regretted and you think you cannot recover from.
Yeah.
And then we said a prayer about God, is into giving you a new start, new beginnings, and we're going to pray this prayer. Okay, so we did that. And about a week or two later, we got a huge response from somebody, and they said, thank you so much for praying that prayer. They said, I have made so many mistakes in my life that I never thought God ever could forgive me of, or that I could ever get my life recovered.
That's so
and just
great.
pray, thank you so much for that. You
Yeah.
know? And I know that it wasn't the only person. You know that you get one letter like that, there's got to be
more.
other.
Yeah.
So we have done stuff like that that's just so touching. You know, it's surprising how you can just reach people through TV and they really can feel the anointing of God.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. I do think that I appreciate the program too, like I said, because it's not, because of the lack of scripting, I feel like it's just more natural, right? It's like you're just going to go on a trip.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes too, I've mentioned a few times too, where, where you've had other people contact you and said, even your next trip that's coming up, I won't give away the story, but it was like, we're going to go do this. And then they're like, we're so excited to see you. And you're like, okay, I guess we're going to be going back to where we're going. So, and I think too, we can have a plan, what we want to do or how we want to put it together. But, listening to the Holy Spirit, that's so important, and even those God moments that you share, it's not just about, I think that really takes it to the next level for people that enjoy God's beauty. I was just talking to someone today about how, when they get hiking and they're up in the mountains and stuff, it's just, you do feel closer to God. And some of that's, you have less distractions around you. And I think that if we can do anything to help people to unplug from their normal life, get out, roam, right? Steve, like you said, it's not just aimless wandering. It can be intentional. And then be able to think about that element of how is God really with me and being appreciative, I think, and really using some of these principles of the Bible, some stories that we hear as well, and really focusing those back on God. I really feel like that can really reach people at a real rudimentary level. So that's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of the people that talk to us, one of the main things they say is that they just feel so peaceful.
Yeah.
Because we show them so much of the beauty and mountains and lakes.
And there's a lot of music involved too. That helps.
Music with it. And it's just like a music video.
Right.
And I think they just feel that anointing that's there. Just music.
I had one lady write that she'd been witnessing to her brother because he wasn't saved.
Mm-hmm.
And she loved the program and she said a few things about it. And she says, I just want to tell you, I had my brother watch it and he doesn't like anything. And he loved your program. So I told Bodie, I said, we're ministering to people that don't like anything.
It's so hilarious. Well, Steve and Carol, thank you guys for being on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I encourage, those of you that are patrons of Man 360 to check out Destined to Rome, the number 2. I think your website also is destinedtorome.com.
Yep.
I think that was it as well.
Is it .com TV? Or
No, just
.com. Yeah. So yeah, be able to check you guys out. I know, like I said, I'm encouraging you to do some other projects I think would be beneficial and helpful for people. But yeah, I just really, again, thank you for being on the program and just sharing your heart when you guys are down.
We enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So thanks for listening to this podcast. I just really, again, encourage you to go to destinedtorome.com and be able to see, again, what Steve and Carol are doing and just the fun that they're having, but also incorporating God into that. You can go to our website, man360.tv. You can go to our Facebook page or Instagram, Man360TV, and just start a conversation with us, have a relationship. And just want to encourage you in all the things that you're doing to become who God's truly called you to be. So thanks, guys, for being on the program.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.